just keep going. Part of the journey is the stumbling. You learn so much, and if you're not failing, you're not trying, to be honest. So get yourself out there and try, because the worst thing that happens is you're where you were, which is at least not backwards.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. My guest today is Lacy Cain. She is the CEO and founder of Wildjoy, which is such a cool startup, and it's such a unique concept. It's going to be the first question I ask her, so you're going to have a chance to hear it from her, what it is that they do. I haven't seen a lot of other companies do anything like it, and she, as an entrepreneur, is such a fierce person. I had the pleasure of being her peer in a few startup competitions and things of that nature. She really is awesome. So you can find her information at wildjoy.com. You can find her on LinkedIn, on TikTok, Wildjoy Experiences. They've got an app coming out, so hopefully by the time we launch this episode, it'll be out. I'm not sure what the actual launch date is, but yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in the future for Wildjoy and for Lacy, and I'm really excited to tell you guys about it on this episode. How exhausted do you get just tracking across the entire state of Arizona every day?
To say, I'm like, it's whatever. I think I've been doing this now for a year and a half, like hardcore, and I think I'm finally hitting the point where I am like really chronically tired. I don't think I've taken a day off in a while. Like, I really don't know. But tomorrow I'm waking up on horseback riding, then going on 2 different hikes, and then ATVing. So to say that life is epic, it's epic. So I'm very grateful. And
I feel like you've created a business that just allows you to live such an awesome life. And that's am I right?
That's like literally why like everything about Wildjoy is what I already lived before this. Like, Wildjoy to me is everyone, when you're going out of your way to do something that makes you feel alive, that's what you're doing. Like, you're finding your Wildjoys. So I was already doing it and stuff, and I was literally going into the idea of going into a hardcore financial job, because I was an accounting major, and I was thinking, like, I'm going to hate my life. Like, I can't do anything I want to do. I can't travel. I have 2 weeks off, rest of my life, whatever. So one thing I am passionate about is adventure. So I might as well create a company based around it, so that way I can truly do what I love every day. It was hard to figure out a way to monetize it for sure, but like, we're past it now. So thank God.
I think before we go any further down here, why don't you just take a second to explain what Wildjoy is to someone who's never heard of it?
Yeah. So Wildjoy is a platform to empower people to find their Wildjoy through incredible experiences. Our experiences are unique in that a lot of them are like do-it-yourself, in that you're able to like follow one of our guides to go find like a ghost town, go to find like a gold mine, hot springs. We work with local businesses around Arizona right now, and we basically show our audience of over like 140,000 across like all of our platforms, basically like what the heck there is to do in Arizona, and only the cool stuff, only the hidden gem stuff. And through that, we have like connected the locals to locals, and especially in this time of the pandemic, with being able to not really travel internationally or anything, it's completely blown up because of that need for like true, like you have to make your life the fantasy, because you're not be able to go anywhere else, so you might as well make it fun here, Absolutely.
So why don't you explain like a little bit more in detail, like how would a customer interact with you, not necessarily in a financial way, but like once someone finds Wildjoy, like how do they interact with your company?
That makes total sense. So I'm so excited to announce that our app is coming out in like about I want to say like a week and a half, the first version, which is so exciting. So a customer essentially will come into Wildjoy through probably our social channels. You'll probably find us on TikTok or on Instagram showing off our adventures and cool experiences. And then you go to our website. On our website and stuff, what we are working on developing that will be coming out soon as well is like basically a landing page that you're able to go to, either like a booking space that you're able to book Wildjoy exclusive experiences, like stuff that we are putting on with our community. You'll be able to go to like our blog, which is lots and lots of like detailed accounts that are like myself or other members of the Joy Club. That's what I call like our team and our community. Nice. And then 3, like we have an entire apparel line. So that's essentially what you'll be able to do. And then when you're out and about on our adventures, you can use our Wildjoy app, which is called Wildjoy Maps. And essentially it's all the stuff that we already talk about. It's on the app. And then all of like the events that are going on are on there too.
So on your map, is it going to be like a geographical map, and then there's just like they can click where they want to go? Is that
Do you want to see a sneak peek? You want to see? This is a first time like look at
Are we getting exclusive?
Yeah,
Let's see it.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I just went into my thing and searched Wildjoy. Now, guys, it hasn't been published yet, so like all the stuff you're seeing, the data has not been entered. So think about that. But like, okay, so you open it up, and you immediately are able to go to like where you currently are. If you go right here to categories, we have like all the basis stuff. So it's like accessible adventures, camping, day trips, hiking, local restaurants, unique dates, waterfalls. Think of stuff like that. And then over here, it'll basically be a portal for all of like the Wildjoy exclusive stuff. So for example, we're with Candle Chemistry, which is like a local business here in Scottsdale. We're hosting like a BYOB candle making extravaganza, basically with social distancing in place and stuff. But all of our members of the Joy Club, we would be able to book exclusively through our platform for that kind of stuff.
This could not have been easy to make. How how long did it take you to build this app?
Well, the story is actually really amazing. I didn't build the app. It was actually a gift.
It was a gift? Someone gifted you an app?
I'm so freaking blessed. So basically the story is a year and a half ago when I graduated school, literally the day I graduated, I decided I am full-time Wildjoy. I'm moving to Scottsdale. This is the place I'm going to start my business. I'm going to get a serving job, whatever. I scrapped together like a website. Like I thought it would be okay for me to try to develop something. It didn't work. It crashed and burned up until like October probably of last year. So by about a year ago from this point. And then I started hiring like a developer and stuff. It never got anywhere, literally, until I started posting on TikTok in January and really just starting reaching out to my community. So I built this incredible, really highly engaged audience. In my audience is the wonderful, who's now the CTO of my team, Robert Johnson, who works at Apple, but he loved Wildjoy so much that he built this app to be able to use it for his own personal adventures. And to say that I literally, Max, I got home from my serving job that night. It was 9:30 p.m. I got a message on Facebook from Robert Johnson saying, hey, I have no intentions to do anything with this app besides give it to you or use it for like my personal use, basically. To say that my jaw dropped, I freaking like got him on the phone. We talked before midnight and stuff, had a whole meeting. And so that was kind of like the start of me realizing that the technology was finally going to be at the place that my audience needed. So that happened in, I feel like May, maybe April, I don't know. And it's been a journey ever since. So I did not create the app. It was given to me, and now Robert works on our team, and I'm so blessed.
Oh my gosh. So it's crazy. I've never heard of anything like that happening. That's so wild.
It's the power of Wildjoy. This business is so much beyond just a business. It's like a transformational like lifestyle brand.
I'm never going to forget, like I was sitting in my kitchen the other, like, I don't know, sometime 6-7 months ago, and one of my friends was like watching a video on her phone, and she's like, hey, Max, like, look at this video. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Oh my God, that's Lacey. Oh my God, that's Wildjoy. And that's when I realized like you had some momentum behind what you were doing. It's crazy. It's been so awesome watching you blow up, and the fact that one of the repercussions of that was you getting a free app. That's insane. That's so cool.
Everything that's happened with Wildjoy has been our audience has emerged. Like my entire team is built out of Wildjoy lovers. I did not do any recruiting. It was all to us. It's mental, the power of this like Arizona community. It's amazing.
Let's take a few steps back before that moment. Like how did Wildjoy start? Where did the idea come from? Like obviously I know some of the story, but I'd love to hear like I was even when you were first starting out, I was watching from a distance, right? I was working on my thing and you were working on yours, and I was competing against you. So tell me the story from your perspective.
So Wildjoy started as basically like a school project, I would say in the best terms. I went into August of my senior year, so that was 2018, with the mindset of like it kind of actually goes back into high school. Like I had always wanted to go to U of A because of this entrepreneurship program. So I was always very dead set on like really taking it serious and stuff. So I went to the program in August with the mindset of building like a really good team that we could come up with something together. So I had 4 awesome teammates, Hannah, Yaya, Ishan, and Spencer. And it was so incredible working with them. Like, truly, to be honest, it was awesome. We had so many good times. And we really, really started investigating, like, the idea, like, how can we solve the problem of people being so unhappy? Now, obviously, none of us on the team were medical students, anything like that. But we were all people that had lived through mental health struggles. and we wanted to help people feel better. So took a lot of like meetings and deviations between different business ideas and stuff, but eventually like we had come up with this like idea of like an event space, kind of like looked kind of like Groupon basically, just for like overall all events or whatever. And so like that was interesting, but it was like already done and stuff. So there wasn't really any uniqueness that would really drive that. And then I kind of like really started researching like, okay, none of this stuff I actually like to do because I am the adventure lover. Like all the basic stuff, like all the basic stuff is already out there. Like there wasn't a space for stuff I actually really loved. So then I kind of pitched like deviating from the idea of just overall like events and stuff of this like Wander Hub event thing to like, let's do unique, like local hosted ideas basically and stuff. So we kind of like started growing that by basically like probably second semester of school. So it took half a year basically of like researching and going from so many different ideas. So Denver definitely did not come quickly, and it was definitely not obvious from the very beginning. And then I started like really like, I really wanted to take this. Like I really wanted to be able to call the full-time offer and stuff I had and say like, sorry, I can't come work for you. Like I want to do Wildjoy. It was not Wildjoy at the time. So like my heart was fully in it. Like I remember at there was like some pitch competition, Rubber Max. I feel like we never won anything. It was so annoying. We worked so hard.
We never did either.
Oh, it was so annoying. It was so competitive. I wanted to win so bad, but we never won, which it's okay. But I really realized we created this like immersive experience at this like there was this big pitch whatever thing, and it was like people throwing like splatter paints and stuff. And it really just like started coming to me. Like it wasn't even about like the actual they were doing. It's just about acting like a wild and free and like a child kind of again with like splattering paints thing in places and stuff and like just doing stuff because it's fun and stuff. So I went to Disneyland and stuff after that. I thought of this like song I used to like called Jubal by Klangze, put it on my phone or whatever. And this time I was really trying to find a name for Wildjoy. Like really hard. Wander Hub was the thing we were currently on. When you're starting a business, you have to think of domains that are available for purchase. You can't just take a name that's already given or you're wasting your time. So really debating like what the name could be, but I really wanted to capture the essence of what it meant to be wild and free. So for me, Jubal in German means joy. And I just finished up an internship that past summer at Siemens working like as an accounting intern. And so I don't know, German just seemed to be like a second language to me at that moment and stuff. So to have an idea, like to have a song that was so deeply connected to when I was coming out of my own personal health, like depression period, to be able to like bring that to my business. So like Wildjoy, put it together. The domain was on sale for like $4,500. Like it was so much money at the time. Like I was like, no way, but okay, at least it's up for sale. So then we just like I really just started working like seriously from March until the end of the year. And I called my full-time offer in March, said like, there was a lot of other like personal things going on at the time, but like I couldn't move to Texas. I was going to start Wildjoy. And two of my teammates had awesome offers and stuff. So they decided to immediately like go do that and stuff. And Hannah and Yaya like technically like launched Wildjoy with me in the very beginning, but they both got awesome jobs too at like Yaya's working at Microsoft and Hannah's at, I think it's Shavaz. I don't want to say that wrong, but it's this awesome fashion label. It's literally all of my team from this past year, like literally they are all finding their Wildjoy, essentially doing what they love to do. And I decided to go.
I was actually with two of them on Sunday.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you know you're good. They doing good?
Yeah, they're doing good. They're awesome. I saw Spencer and Ishan.
Oh, awesome. That makes me happy. I love to
Yep.
hear everyone's happy and safe right now, especially in this time of such like craziness. So
absolutely. I totally cut off your momentum there. Sorry.
No, you're fine. But basically, Wildjoy from that point, I didn't have a lot of money. Like I didn't have an investment. I didn't have all the investor stuff that I learned in the program and stuff you really needed to like launch a company. All I had was the knowledge that like I could go move to Scottsdale, do what Mark Cuban said, and get like a bartender serving job, and then work my butt off, and then at nights work the serving job. And then eventually when the idea was in my head was like, well, eventually when Wildjoy takes off, I'm able to like quit the serving job, which is what happened. It just took like a year and about a month to get there. it was like all my money. I lived like so frugally. It taught me a lot of discipline, and it taught me a lot of like the hunger it feels to really want something more than anything. And I didn't be faced with the reality of having to monetize Wildjoy. Like, I was focused so much until probably March on just building the audience and building all this momentum to have the proof to go to an investor or something, to say like, hey, I have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that identify with the problem I'm solving with my business. Like, this is, I didn't have a team at this point. I had just invested in like the most awesome creative like direction with Logan and Jocelyn, who are my designers now on our team. But I had basically seen like the need for our brand needed to improve. Like, our logo that I had designed was awful. I am not like the most skilled ever. And part of realizing that Wildjoy had to be bigger than myself, and I had to seek help. So like during the point when I was realizing I needed to monetize it, I hired Logan and Jocelyn to remake the Wildjoy logo and the entire brand aesthetic. And it changed everything. So in March, lost my serving job. The pandemic hit. Holy crap. Like, literally, I was hiring my developer still at this point, part-time. I literally don't think I got anything out of him, to be honest with you, that I was actually able to tangibly work with to make money off of. So and all my credit cards were maxed at this point because it was the middle of the pandemic. I had lost my job. It was like April. I had no choice but to make money in Wildjoy. It was scary. It was scary. Well, I found my courage. And I was literally listening to this.
Wait a second. You found your courage after you maxed out your credit cards?
Like, the process of getting to where I had to say to my developer and stuff, like I had to have him stop working on what, like, I had to it was basically a moment of like a turning point of like me evaluating that everything I had done in the past was not working. And instead of having to try to keep this like horse going that wasn't actually working, to literally just like cut ties, say all the money that I just wasted basically on all of this doesn't matter anymore. I have to find a way to pay off this credit card stuff and to get myself out of this like literally black hole that I'm gonna, like, my business will go down. So one, launched Wildjoy Store, which is an apparel line, and I did it with Logan and Jocelyn, our designers. So that was one way I got us out of that. Two, Wildjoy's videos bring thousands and thousands of people to every single business we plug and talk about and we show. That is worth a lot. So I had been struggling to get past the idea of that in the middle of the pandemic, I'm trying to ask business owners for money. To me, it felt so selfish. It felt like, but I had no choice. I was running out of money. I had nothing. So basically, Tempe Tourism, which is an organization in Tempe, they are like I think they're a government organization. They found me on TikTok, and I pitched them for like a big dollar amount in my head at that point, and they said yes. And it was like a breath of freaking fresh air had emerged. Like, I realized I had something and stuff. So I did an eight video campaign for them, and basically showing like what there is to do in Tempe with hidden gems and stuff to get people to go to Tempe and spend money, because people were at this point scared at home doing that, and I needed to show people could go find their Wildjoy in Tempe. Mission accomplished. I thought we were going to hit 300,000 views for like the campaign. We crushed it. We almost hit 1 million.
Jeez.
So I really started feeling then like, holy crap, this isn't a hobby anymore. This isn't a black hole and stuff. So I like in that combination and stuff. So I didn't have any unemployment because they got all stalled up and stuff. So literally I was just all in. I went so hard, and I got my serving job back probably 6 weeks later, because business had started up again and stuff, a little bit at least. So I worked another 6 weeks at the serving job to like be able to get my feet back on. Oh yeah, I forgot one little piece. When I lost my serving job, I went and got a job at this coffee shop right next to my house. Okay. At the coffee shop job, people that were going through knew who I was from Wildjoy.
That's wild. That's so cool.
That's the craziest part. I realized then that the community that I just thought were just numbers, no. They were very real people that were coming through and asking me for photos. They were FaceTiming their relatives, their friends, their family, people that knew who I was. They showed me their memories, and they were like, thank you so much for helping me have stuff to do with my boyfriend. All of this date we just had was the most incredible first date, and I would never have done that without you. Like, that stuff brought me to my knees and just pure thankfulness and gratitude. And it empowered me that when I went back to that serving job and stuff, I knew what I had. So it was a matter of time. So all I needed to do was get more deals. So I did.
So was the pivot like, when I think back to like where it was back when we were in school, it was like your idea was that people would pay these guides to like take them on these like adventures around whatever. It almost feels like you became the guide and the adventure was free and you would just show them on TikTok what to do instead. And is that am I understanding correctly what happened?
You're totally understanding the pivot. The pivot at the beginning was because I didn't have the technology to actually have a booking platform. It was like the idea was still valid, and it's gonna, like, Wildjoy will be basically what the first version was. It will be in the future. It's just like I had to get the team together and the money together and the audience together before I was able to do it. So it was kind of like I was putting the horse before the whatever, like the saying is. I was doing the wrong way first. So then I kind of like, when I realized that like TikTok for me, I have always been a marketing person. I like clearly I know, I love it. It's so fun. TikTok, Daniel Wall, who was actually in the program with, I know you know Daniel, he texted me in late December, and it was right before the new year, and he's like, dude, get on TikTok, like get Wildjoy on TikTok. And I was trying to like find my kahunas at this point to get on TikTok, because it was like, I've never been a social media person, never in my life. And so then I got on and I started just trying. Spent most of January, like nothing really took off. Like I was trying to get my first like 1,000 followers or something. And I was really learning that like people were sharing on TikTok all these beautiful travel places, but they were like hiding the location, or they were like not telling you actually how to get there. So I dug into that niche and I said, okay, all these people are saying they're going to like, whatever the word is for like keeping it from other people. I'm actually going to invite you to do it in a way that is, one, accessible to everyone, two, encouraging leave no trace ethics and other things to improve the environment when people are exploring. And three, just creating need for reasons for people to get outside, to go do stuff. Like, obviously, when I say outside, it could be like in candle chemistry, but like just doing something that is in a world that wants us to be glued to our phones. It's incredible.
Absolutely. When I think about you, like the first overwhelming like impression of you, like not just the first time I meet you, but the first thing I think of when I think of you is just like, you're such a fierce entrepreneur. Like you're the exact spirit of what people think of when they think of an entrepreneur, just like forcing things to happen. Like when we were in that program in our senior year, when it was kind of at the end, we didn't all exactly understand what Wildjoy was, but the consensus was that just due to your force of will, it would succeed, and we knew it. So my question is, what were you going to do as an accountant?
I wanted to choose a major that would challenge me, to be honest with you. And I like pretty much aced accounting 200. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll be a great accountant. It'll be something I can't wait to learn about. I hardly passed accounting. Hardly. Like by like 0.1. I was way over my head in it, but I wanted a challenge. So I did it. I passed. But my plan all along was just to launch a company. And I always like, I have crazy big dreams, and I've been manifesting this since I've been a little kid. And so I'm fierce. I am fierce. And it's because, one, I'm passionate as heck about this. How would you not be? It's empowering others to find their wild joy in a time that people need it so bad. I couldn't do this for microchips or something that wasn't people oriented. Like I would not be the fierce entrepreneur for something I wasn't passionate about. So that was the key for me.
Fair enough. Do you think that, I mean, it almost feels like a no-brainer, but what's the plan in terms of expanding into other markets? Like right now you're very Arizona focused, but knowing you, that's not going to be the long term.
No. So right now the plan is, I was actually heavily inspired. I went with my advisor at the time, Catherine. Now she's on the team as operations. Like, to say that is insane that my advisor is now on the team. Like, oh my God. But she took me right before the pandemic happened. She took me to this pitch competition that was at the Tempe Art Center. And it was companies way more successful than mine. Remember, at this point, I was just starting to build my audience. I think I had just hit like 30,000. And I was starting to get in my head that, whoa, this is actually going to happen. Like, and that's something that happens, I think, when you just like live in this imposter syndrome for so long, like I was doing until it actually worked. It was like I didn't see how it could. And I was inspired by this company that started in New Mexico. And they were like, okay, we aced New Mexico. Our business works. We proved it in these like different monetary like income level like markets throughout the state and stuff. We're able to now they were looking for money and stuff to expand to other states. That's kind of similar to how I see Wildjoy going. Wildjoy right now is we're getting all of our technology together, which is like critical. I've learned this now way too many times. Don't launch technology before you're ready for it, because it's seriously just the worst thing ever when it doesn't work, because no one gets more frustrated than your customers, your hosts, everyone. So right now, in probably the next year and a half, while the pandemic is still being kind of worked on and stuff, we are going to dominate Arizona. Yesterday I worked with Arizona State Parks and stuff. Like, we're just getting started. There's a lot to do in Arizona, but essentially the goal is to get the basic structure down on our different ways of monetization. And then from there, we can hire and source. We have people that have sent in applications for jobs in Delaware, New York, Connecticut, Chicago. Like, people want to start Wildjoy in their city and stuff. And so
they're going to be like you, right? They're going to be the Lacey of Delaware or wherever.
I mean,
right?
that's what I hope everyone is. I hope everyone is the Lacey. I hope everyone's finding their Wildjoy essentially. But I'm not saying this is going to be like I like hire someone to franchise Chicago. More like utilizing and hiring people in these cities to basically enlighten the audience and kind of guide like the overall direction, because it's really easy for me because I know Arizona like the back of my hand. I lived here my whole life. I love it. I don't know every other state like this, but there's people out there that want to be part of an organization that are like myself, that are so invested. So yeah, I'm freaking blessed. And we also had Dean come along during this time too, and he just did the streaming of the Democratic like national convention and stuff. Like, he is from Hollywood, like this big time like producer and stuff. He is now on our team too, and like he's now working with me in like virtual events and stuff, and with other like production opportunities. And then he's another person just from our audience, just loved Wildjoy.
That's so cool. It's like you're just doing all the right things and the team is assembling because of that.
Yeah.
So
we had 9 interns this past summer, from like UCLA, U of A, ASU, like Syracuse. I did it all virtually. Right now, it's like I swear it changes because we have so many people coming in and out. I would like to say like there's like 6 or 7 like people that are like, I would say, full timers. And then whenever I have interns, it adds about like between 9 and 12 people. So right now, in this time of like me needing so much time focusing on getting these sales contracts in to get us like the number we need to be able to like really run a booking platform with the level of like client experience that we really want to give. I need to take a break from interns because they are awesome and they bring so much value, but there's a lot of like work that comes with it. So we're going to bring them on again for like this semester. Like there's a period of time between the fall and the spring periods of like school. So we're going to hire people again for that. But we had 35 applicants for the first round of interns this past summer. We took on 9. It was nuts.
What do you imagine the threshold being before you're willing to expand into other markets? Like, I know you said the technology is a big thing. Is it establishing that booking platform? Is that really what it is? Or is it some other metric that you're trying to hit before you're ready to expand?
I would not say it's a hard metric. I would say it's a matter of feeling the ability that we have aced it. We have aced it. Like, we have figured it out. Like, you know, when you kind of like, it takes a while to get like a kind of a tool down, but once you do it, you can kind of feel like you can ride it and maneuver it. That's how I kind of see it, is like we have, when we have the ties to all the key organizations, and it makes sense that we're able to then approach other large organizations that would make this process a lot easier for us in other states. That's how I think we do it. So booking platform is very key. There needs to be a really, really smooth way for people that want to book a Wildjoy exclusive experience to be able to go onto our platforms and do that seamlessly. That's really key for me. 2, there needs to be a really, really like clear way of us like being able to bring the same experience to other places. Like, I don't want to launch anything if it's half-assed, basically.
Yeah, it needs its own like business plan, essentially, like a guidebook it's almost like you're franchising it, but you're not.
Yeah, it just takes a lot of research. Like I spent between, I told you like business was like failing, and from like when I launched it, like right out of school to like October of whatever, like the year ago. That's when I had to hire the developer and stuff. So in the meantime, while the developer was like working and stuff, I was not posting on Instagram, anything. I took a complete step back to be able to research Arizona and to be able to truly become the expert I am today. I thought I was an expert, really wasn't. I was an expert in Tucson. But now, like I spent about 3-4 months. So there's abilities for people on my team to do that and become experts in other places too.
Do you feel like I know you mentioned that the team has really evolved as this has grown. Do you feel like you as an entrepreneur have evolved? Do you think that there's like been personal development involved in this as well?
Oh yeah. Someone that has struggled with anxiety my whole life, it's really,
I bet that's made this hard.
Yeah, it's a lot to go through the emotions of feeling like all the weight in the world is on your shoulders, but also knowing that you're the one putting the weight on your shoulders like that. It's that feeling. So I dealt with a lot of growth when it came to leadership. I thought I was a good leader. Yeah, I thought I really was. And I launched Wildjoy and I had my first interns last summer and stuff, like the summer before. And it just completely devastated me. And it really wasn't because I really felt like, because my Wildjoy really wasn't ready to have anyone else on the team. Like I was still working through the basis, like of what our problem solution really was. I just felt like I was the worst ever, to be honest. Like I was the worst ever. So I had to like grow into my strength of being able to like fire people, to being able to grow into my strength to recruit people, to say what I actually wanted versus like what people like trying to keep the peace. That was something that was really, really like strongly like forced upon all of our groups in McGuire, was that this idea of like it's a project. There needs to be peace. There needs to be blah, blah, blah. The reality is, though, it's not always like that, and I had to really learn that it was okay to, as a woman, it wasn't like rude or like it wasn't too fierce of me to do that. So I had like someone that was like working at a large like travel company and stuff, like approach Wildjoy in the time of me researching and building. And she wanted to take a large portion and stuff of the company, in exchange for like coming on, and like there were things like that came up that would have been a really easy thing for me to like kind of give up the weight on my shoulders I felt. And I'm really happy I did not go through with any of those things, because I kind of like grew as a leader and being able to, through growing my audience and stuff, I was able to feel the confidence behind it because I had all these people that their stories that were empowering me. So that basically caused me to learn that I can't be constantly pushing myself. Like I have to be pulled by something. So that's something I really take pride in as an entrepreneur now, is that I don't focus on like how I'm personally feeling. Like I'm focusing on like the overall mission and letting it pull me forward. Does that make sense?
That does. It's actually inspirational to hear you say that. Do you feel like you've overcome that leadership inadequacy in general, or do you think it's still something you're working on?
I have so much to learn still, but I don't see it as an all or nothing thing anymore. That was something I really, really had, and I'm still working through, the idea of like, I'm the worst leader, I'm the best leader. That kind of attitude is just like not helpful to anyone. It's really not. Because what I've really learned is that every single day, communication is the biggest way to help your organization do better. I struggle when I am feeling anxious about something. I will literally just ignore or not respond. Like it is almost like the price of the decision itself will drive me over the edge. So like that's something I've had to overcome as a leader, is like even when I am feeling all of these ways, I have to allow them as thoughts just to bounce off my head, acknowledge them, and then place them somewhere else. And not allowing them to dominate how I am then communicating to the rest of my team, who knows nothing about what I'm personally going through. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Gotta keep that in check for sure. What mistakes do you think that you've made along the way? And you mentioned some stuff about like, early development, but I kind of mean more in the sense of decisions you've made as like an entrepreneur or a leader, less about like little tactical mistakes, but more like big picture mistakes, I guess.
Um, I would, God, the first Yaya and I. So she and I were like really trying to make it work, like us working together in the very beginning and stuff. And so she and I launched our first version of the website together. And I had taken no accountability until that launch point when the website crashed and it went down and everything sucked for 2 days, like literally 48 hours, everything was crashed. Of the, I was literally like hoping it would all work out. If I tried my best, like it would work. People would definitely buy. Like, ew, it's gonna be a slam dunk. Like I'm gonna hit 500K before like 6 months. Like Yaya has like experience and all this stuff. Like I can trust her. Like that entire like Yaya and I were both just right out of college, had no real world experience. Like why would I as an entrepreneur think that was like the best idea I look back on? Not even like double checking things. Not even doing that. Like I remember going the night before the launch realizing like I had treated this like a school project I procrastinated on. And because I was earning enough money through my serving job and stuff, it wasn't life or death. It was just my first best attempt. And people were going to have to deal with it. And I thought people would have to deal with it and they would buy still. Not true.
Do you think that the fact that you did lose that serving job and that safety net was taken away, is that do you think that's a direct cause of the success that you did end up having?
Yeah, I think I was always going to get here. Well, I no thought came in my brain this entire like time of like I'm gonna give up now. It's the time I'm gonna stop. No, like the serving job thing was literally just like, okay, this developer thing's not working out. My TikTok thing, I finally have enough followers where I think that I could reasonably feel like comfortable in my head, like pitching a company and seeing what happened. And then the just like the realization that like the world I might not ever get my serving job back. Like I was doing Postmates, I was doing all these other things, and I was just like, oh, this is so annoying. Only making like $15 an hour for like working so hard. It feels like when I could be like focusing on Wildjoy, and then I realized like, okay, how much can I make per hour? Like, what is a package I could create? What is a service I could do? And then that's kind of the start of the Wildjoy effect. That's what I call it. Like the transformational experience that are the businesses and cities that we touch. It's like the Wildjoy effect. It's nuts.
What do you mean? What do you mean the transformational effect on the businesses that you touch? Just like increased foot traffic, or like what do you mean?
They see like, for example, Mochi Fresh, which is a organization in Tempe. It's owned by a single owner named AB. He's awesome. He is of like one of the 14 boba shops in like the area. He's the only one that actually does them by hand. He is so unique and stuff. I published a video. This is part of like the Tempe tourism contract. He got picked up by like 3 nationwide like foodie kind of like channels after I posted and stuff, and after I shared that his business is 3 times what it was before. Like, and I just coincidentally stepped foot in his door, and I thought like, oh, I've never seen a shop that specializes in like homemade like mochi. Like this is so cool. So like his business to this day, like he has a Wildjoy sticker on his door and stuff, but like it will never be the same because of the amount of people that have now like know Mochi Fresh by just ear, like people in Gilbert. Oh yeah, Mochi Fresh, Tempe. Oh yeah, okay. That would just never have happened with like a Yelp campaign or like a Facebook ad. Like because of my authentic I'm just the face of this. So like essentially, so I try to make it so like anyone can put themselves in my shoes. But like it's the authentic approach of like I'm not being paid by this business to endorse it. I'm just sharing like an experience that you can do that's really fun and you'll feel good after doing.
Is that why you said you kind of felt guilty when you were starting to ask for money?
Yeah, because I was taking businesses that were suffering horribly in COVID, and I just wanted to help them without taking the profits. But unfortunately, when I'm bringing in, like I'm tripling a business's revenue, kind of makes sense for Wildjoy to have a piece of the pie.
Is it really tripling? Is that an exaggeration, or are you actually doing that level of impact?
Oh, I'm not exaggerating at all. Candle Chemistry, the Scottsdale business, they were super struggling. Now they're opening a second location, at least tripling. I have several clients that have said at least tripling.
Do you see a parallel between what you're doing in influencer marketing?
Yeah, sure. And in a way that I am technically like people some businesses and stuff see Wildjoy as an influencer, as like me as an influencer or whatever, but it's like more than that because it's an entire movement and it's because of our name, Wildjoy, and it's the feeling behind it. And that's what makes it different than working with just an influencer. And it's that our audience is 98% like here in Arizona, and like 40% or 18 to 25. Like that's like the like kind of like my age group in college. And then you have like 40% of our audience is the age above that. So we have like young parents, we have like people that are earning like real, it's nuts that our audience is so diverse too. So it really, really helps us with getting like these like super targeted segmented audiences. And it beats just having like, I would say like even just like a food influencer or someone that really is niche, because this is so much more than that. It's showing that a lifestyle is diverse and you can have a lot of things and you can find your Wildjoy in all of them. And that's what makes it so valuable to brands.
So cool. I have a few kind of rapid fire questions for you. You can take as much time as you want, but they're rapid fire in the sense that they don't really connect to each other.
Okay.
So first of all, what advice would you give to a younger entrepreneur who wants to start something, maybe not like Wildjoy, but just wants to start a company, has that drive that you did when you were a kid and you always wanted to do something on your own?
Always be questioning things around you. Why are they the way they are? Could you think of something in a more like an elevated sense? Could you find a way to take your personal experiences and elevating them to something that anyone else can have? A piece of advice I would give myself a year and a half ago is like, just keep going. Part of the journey is the stumbling. You learn so much, and if you're not failing, you're not trying, to be honest. So get yourself out there and try, because the worst thing that happens is you're where you were, which is at least not backwards.
I love that. Where do you see Wildjoy going in the next 10 years?
I see it being acquired for a lot of money within 5 years.
Wow. Okay.
I see myself staying on with Wildjoy for probably like at least like a few years of that 10 at least. But I have big dreams to launch Wild Hope, which is a nonprofit stemming from Wildjoy that empowers women in low income, poverty level conditions to learn the technical skills to be able to like work for Wildjoy or work for other organizations. So I really hope to get into the nonprofit space and to really use my platform that I had built at this point and the money that I make from Wildjoy to build what I want to do to empower women like myself that haven't been like blessed with like a college education and stuff that I feel so fortunate to have.
That's actually my next question. Do you feel like your college education sets you up to succeed here?
I think that the discipline of it, yes. The connections, yes. The network for me. I learned so much through the diversity of everyone I met at U of A. That was everything. I as I said in the beginning, like even my team that I worked on with like the Wildjoy, I would say Wildjoy project more than a business in school and stuff. Like we all had different perspectives on like just what makes like what drives people. And I think that's only something I would have learned in college, because if I had stayed in my bubble from post high school, I don't think I would have elevated ever to thinking of like that I would want to do something to build a brand, to empower people. Like it just seems too selfless.
What books, mentors, podcasts do you listen to or read or whatever the equivalent is for a mentor that have inspired you or given you a lot of information that's been useful?
Oh man, I went to Barcelona for like a study abroad thing right before my junior year of college, and I read a book. Like in Barcelona, I didn't have a phone because, I didn't have any cellular or anything, so I couldn't be on my phone. So I had to read a book. So every day, and then the train, I'd read a book. It's called like The Power of Broke. It was by Damon John from Shark Tank and stuff.
It's a cool book.
But to me, I always knew that I was gonna have to do this with literally no money. Like I don't have like my parents aren't gonna do anything. Like I didn't have any crazy investor aunts or. It wasn't my dream ever either to do that. And so I always thought like, okay, how can I be broke and be successful? So that book was everything to me. I'm looking at my bookshelf over there. And then the 7 Habits of Effective, whatever, that's been critical. My dad loves that book, and he's had me reading that since I was a kid. And then probably Robert Kiyosaki's like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Love that. And what do I listen to? For fun, I listen to Impulsive, which is like Logan Paul's podcast. He does like a lot of like pop culture stuff talking about like different trends. He brings on a lot of different like artists, yes, people that are very, very interesting to me. They talk about business a lot. They talk about like culture. They talk about social media trends, which I'm very into. And then I listen to Wake Up with Leslie, which is like a mental health kind of like spiritual based kind of podcast. So that's basically what I'm into.
Nice. Do you feel like you have this is a weird question for your business specifically, but do you feel like you have a good work-life balance? Is that even a real thing with Wildjoy?
I am on my journey. So to say that I think I almost killed myself doing this, like just by working so hard, I think I literally got to that point. I had a mental health probably just breakdown in August of just like, oh my God, it was so incredible. All the amazing things were happening, and the fact that I was able to quit my serving job, all this amazingness. But I felt so empty inside because I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating. And so I've been slowly trying to transition my life from this like all or nothing mentality to this like lifestyle of like balance and not being a slave to my audience and not letting hate comments dictate my life, like things like that. I'm working on it. I'm working on it for sure. And it was also hard because I was broke. I still am. Like I'm still bootstrapping Wildjoy. So like I would say I'm living on an elevated ramen diet now. But like when I was on the ramen diet, I didn't have money to go do things with friends besides my like hikes and stuff that I was doing for Wildjoy. But like there's only so much people want to do for that. So I kind of felt myself isolating myself because I didn't have money to go to bars anymore. I didn't drink anymore. Wasn't into it. So that's something I've been working on, is just like creating time that is like offline that I'm not recording, because I feel like my life is daily vlogging because I'm always on camera.
Why didn't you ever decide to go for funding? Just because you didn't want to give up equity?
Sarah, yeah, I won. I always think I can do this myself. Like I'm really happy I have now a year and a half later, thank God. But like I always had this like dream in my head of not being like a slave to someone that has a lot of money out there that's going to dictate what Wildjoy is, when I was still in a period of discovering what Wildjoy really could be. And I needed I needed no pressure. I needed the aspect of like, no, like you need to make this work right now. Like my life, it wasn't working before. And I needed the freedom, which I did have because I owned Wildjoy 100%, to not post anything for months while I was researching and taking the time to do things. And Catherine, was my advisor this entire time and stuff. And we have weekly meetings and stuff. So she was always trying to like help me position and stuff for it. And we were talking pitch competitions, but in the back of my head, I had this like dream that I could make our social media channels with brand deals, monetize Wildjoy, so I don't need an investor, which I am very much on my way to that. So I'm excited for it.
You think you're gonna stay completely bootstrapped for the whole journey?
I would love that. I would love it. I would say that if a amazing corporation like Airbnb or Expedia or someone that wanted to come in on bringing their assets to the Wildjoy world, essentially, and then me, like obviously I still own a majority or whatever with people that will own equity at that time. But I would definitely split for that point. But I'm not looking for at this point like a single angel investor throwing in $200,000 for a 48% equity stake with 10% coming back yearly. Like I'm just kidding around. I always thought that would have been a dream, but it honestly would have killed me. I'm very much a believer like in God, and I believe that He would only give me the money when I needed it and when I really did need it. And that's literally my life right now, is I give thanks to God for it, because I couldn't dream it up.
If you could add any CEO to your board of advisors, who would it be? Or anyone in general?
Sarah from Spanx.
Sarah from Spanx, why?
She is the most badass woman entrepreneur ever. Or Jessica Alba, the owner of Honest Beauty, and like Honest Products and stuff. Both women have like captured what I believe that I will be in like the future of being able to help people, one, build their own businesses. Like I hope, I can't wait to do that. Like I can't wait to help people do this because I've always feel like I've had a gift for that. I've always helped people with resumes, their interview stuff. Like I only imagine that how it would be one day when I'm helping people do that. And both of those women do that through their businesses, and they have awesome, like Sarah Barkley, she 100% funded her own company. It's over $1 billion and stuff now, but she never took investor money, and that's very attractive to me.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'd probably have her. She's so cool.
Lacey, this has been awesome. You're an absolute inspiration, both as an entrepreneur and as a person. Thank you so much. Where can people find you if they want to be a part of Wildjoy?
Yeah, join the Wildjoy world. We're a lot of fun. You can find us like on any social platform at Wildjoy Experiences, or you can go to our website, wildjoy.com. And our brand new app will be out soon. You can find it on the App Store. It'll be only for iOS, so for iPhones for this first round. But that'll be launched and announced through our website and our social channels. So on the App Store, it will be Wildjoy Maps. So, Max, thank you for having me. It was so fun talking about everything since it's been a year and a half of full on speed ahead. So I'm so happy you're well too.
Yeah, it's been awesome watching you kill it. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you.